Hey you guys, it's Missy Lynn, and today I'm here with a chit chat video. I was on my Twitter and I was talking about wanting to do more lifestyle topic related videos because I talked about, you know, certain things on my vlog channel, and the response was like really amazing, and you just never know what people are going through in life. So I wanted to kind of implement that onto my beauty channel as well, because, you know, I feel like in order for you to look beautiful, you have to feel beautiful, and sometimes the everyday, you know, situations that we go through can sometimes hinder the way that we feel, and it brings our self-esteem down. So the topic that I'm going to be talking about today is basically getting over a relationship, like finding the courage to leave a relationship, finding, you know, your self-worth, learning your self-worth, and just getting rid of any toxic relationship, anything that will bring your spirits down. I'm here to talk to you guys about that and kind of just talk about my experience and what I did to get over it. So if you're interested, then stay tuned. Okay, so about a week ago, okay, no, but seriously, about a week ago, I was talking to one of my girlfriends on the phone, and she was just telling me that she had basically, you know, just recently ended a relationship that had been going on for the past 6 years, and it was really hard for her. And so I was basically just giving her words of encouragement because, you know, I went through a bad breakup. I was married and I got divorced, and so it took me a while, a long time to even, you know, get over that, and just to fathom the fact that I was even, you know, a statistic of a young marriage that like really didn't last. But I didn't let that hinder me. I didn't let that cloud my judgment. I didn't let that play a factor into basically staying in the relationship or whatever. And I'm very grateful that I was wise enough, I woke up finally, to just get out of the relationship that I felt was very toxic. So when I was talking to my girlfriend about it or whatever, I was just telling her, like, you know, a lot of people stay in relationships that is just not good for them. For me, when I sit back and I look at a lot of the situations, a lot of the things that I see that's going on Facebook, a lot of the things that I see that's going on with family members or with friends, you know, sometimes I can be a little bit aggressive when it comes to, you know, giving those type of advice, because I guess I've already been through that situation, and I don't want any one of my family members, any one of my friends, or anyone in general to have to endure pain if they don't have to. And staying in a relationship is a decision that you are making. No one is holding a gun to your head. No one is making you stay in that relationship unless you are physically being abused. You know, people make excuses all the time for their partners, whether the partner is hitting on them, whether the partner is continuously cheating on them, whether the partner is mentally, emotionally abusing them. You tend to stay there because you feel complacent, you feel comfortable, you don't want to have to start all over, you don't want to have to get to know someone all over again, so you choose to stay. I've heard many people say, well, we have too much history, I don't want to just throw it away. That is true. Sometimes you do have too much history, but guess what? Sometimes too much history is enough history to leave. Not all history is good history, and if you continue to hold on to the fact that you have too much history and that history is bad history, then you are only hurting yourself. I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship for years and have kids involved, but I know a lot of people say, and I even had a brother who passed away who died unhappy. I found a journal that he wrote on his computer the day before he died, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart to know that a man, because it's not just women that go through it, it's men that go through it as well. It just broke my heart to know that an individual, a family member of mine, was unhappy in the situation that he was in, but he stayed for the sake of his kids. And, you know, in the journal, he was just talking about how he had finally found peace within himself, and the next day he died. And so after reading that, I vowed to never, ever let someone have that much control over me and of my life to make me stay in a situation to where I am not happy. I always go by this analogy where it's like, if you drop a napkin on the ground, guess what? It's on the ground. So if someone is you know, mentally abusing you, physically abusing you, emotionally abusing you, guess what? If they're putting you down there, then you are down there. And in order for you to rise up, you have to find the courage to rise up, and you have to find the courage to want to leave. And I don't know anyone who wants to endure pain on purpose. Like, if you are staying in a relationship and you know it's not good for you, you are purposely putting yourself through that pain, and it's easier said than done. I know, I've been there. You know, I've been the person who cried, who begged, who just looked like a complete fucking idiot over somebody who was not good for me. You know what I'm saying? And still to this day, I always go by this saying that I've been saying since I was 15 years old. We both deserve to be happy, even if being happy means being alone or being with someone else. No one should be in a relationship that makes them unhappy. And I know a lot of people, you know, sometimes they have kids and they say, well, I'm staying for the sake of my kids. But guess what? If your kids are your #1 priority, then your well-being should be important. You should want to be in the best state mentally possible, you know, emotionally, for your kids. And if you are constantly staying in a relationship that is just beating you down, beating you to the ground, and just making you stay there and just constantly making you unhappy, then guess what? Those kids, whether they are a few months old or 4 years old, 6 years old, kids know. Kids can tell when you aren't feeling well. You don't want your kids to witness this thing, or you don't want your family members to witness these things and think it's okay to be in that type of situation. And so I was talking to my girlfriend back to that story, and she was like, Missy, like, you're so strong. Like, how do you do it? Like, you just basically let, you know, a relationship go that you had been in for darn near 6 years, 5, 6 years. And to me, I felt like I owed it to myself to leave. You know, I owed it to him to let him leave as well, because we were just basically bringing each other down. And don't get me wrong, it's hard. When you spend every day with somebody, you kind of conform. Like, it's like that person is like your right-hand man. You know, you wake up, you going to sleep next to that person. But guess what I always say? If you are going to sleep next to someone and you feel alone, then why not be alone? Answer that question. If you are in a home and you feel alone, but you have a partner, then why stay? It makes no sense. And it's going to take some longer to catch on than others. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, if you are a friend who's basically witnessing, you know, a family member or a friend or a colleague going through this, you need to offer them words of encouragement. And like I told one of my good friends, I said, baby, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but you have to really think about, is this person fulfilling you? Is this person bringing positivity into your life? Is this person, you know, lifting your spirits? If that person is not fulfilling your spirit, then you need to let them go. You need to think back, and this is what really helped me. You have to think back to that very day that you met that person. And you need to think about what you were doing before you met that person. You know, I took a class with my ex, and I have to think about the same day that I met him. What was I doing right before we decided to take it to that level? I was in class acting silly with the rest of the classmates, and I decided, hey, I want to write a letter and ask him, you know, what's up, basically. I was that forward person. I was that forward person. But I had to really think about what I was doing before. And then what was I doing before we actually went on our first little outing together? I was in the mall with my girlfriends, having fun, laughing, getting ready to go to the Cupid party. You know what I'm saying? And you have to think about that. And the reason why you have to think about those things is because a lot of times people feel like they can't live without their partner. You were doing just fine before you met that person. So you cannot let someone who is toxic just have that much control over you. If you have to basically write sticky notes and put it all over your mirrors And whenever you go to brush your teeth or whenever you wake up in the morning, you have to read those stickies and tell yourself that you are worth it. Baby, you are worth it. And this goes for women and men, because there are a lot of women out there who are just as toxic, vindictive, drama-filled like there are some men. And everyone talks about, you know, the 80-20 rule. And, you know, sometimes the 80-20 rule, you know, sometimes it's legit. But you have to think about what it is that you really want in a mate. Because guess what? You can have someone who cooks, who cleans, who comes home straight after work, who, you know, just has their own little hobby and they're in the house all the time. They're not cheating. They're not, you know, doing anything wrong. But if what you really want in a mate is affection and support, to support your dreams, and that person who has that 80 is lacking that, and that's their 20, and that 20 is what you really want, then it's not going to fulfill your spirit. And you may just have to let that person go, because a lot of people feel like, oh, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect person. No, there's no such thing as a perfect person, but you have to find someone that is compatible to you. You don't want to settle for just the next best thing. You know, yeah, if you're shopping for a car, a Mercedes, you can say, oh, well, I can't afford that, I'm gonna get the next best thing. If you shopping in the grocery store and you say, oh, well, today I can't afford, you know, Kellogg's brand, I'm gonna just get the generic brand. Guess what? You can do that. That's disposable. A car, that car will last you for a little while, a few years, and then it's time for you to get a new car. But you don't want to have that mentality when you're choosing your partner, a partner that you want to spend the rest of your life with. You don't want to settle for the next best thing. And a lot of times we settle. We settle because we're either comfortable, we settle because we feel like no one else wants us. So when we become vulnerable, we let people just run over us and take control and take advantage of our well-being. Cereal, you can dispose of. A car, you can trash. Do you really want to trash and dispose your mate every few years because you kind of just settled? You have to know what you want from the beginning. You have to be upfront and honest from the beginning. And if this person, and sometimes, you know, the first year is like the caking stage. You like lovey-dovey. Second year is when you're kind of starting to see the person's true colors and you're trying to figure out, oh, is this really what I want? The third year is basically when you're trying to decide whether or not this is something that you can put up with or not. And for me, I like to invest a little bit of time into someone just to see, you know, like a year, it's like you're really not giving the person a chance unless they're just blatantly being disrespectful. If they're just blatantly cheating, and if you have to continuously have to call a female up, which you better not. If you are that person who constantly have to call the next female, if you are that person who has to constantly message or text the female about your man, let them go. Let them go, because it's not worth it. Because at the end of the day, you look stupid and you are allowing it, and you are opening that door for more cheating and for more dishonesty. You know, you have to be loyal in a relationship, and if that person is not being loyal to you, then why are you staying? You know, of course, everybody makes mistakes. I believe in second chances. You know, I believe it depends. You better not make no baby on me. You better not get caught cheating. You better not bring me no STD. That does not deserve a second chance. But, you know, little things like, oh, if you know, in the beginning, the person's kind of still talking to their ex or whatever, that's kind of normal, because you kind of just like filling out the situation at the same time. That person deserves a second chance just to kind of see. But no, you're not about to come make a monkey out of me 24/7. I refuse. And if you are that person who constantly has to post on Facebook about your position, oh yeah, he might be doing this, he might be doing that, but he comes home, guess what, babe? What's understood does not have to be explained. So if you have to constantly explain yourself, if you have to constantly, you know, try to claim your position, why? A queen sits on a throne high, and she does not have to justify her position, because guess what? Everybody knows that she's the queen. So, you know, it's just a lot to take in, but I just really want you guys to, like, if you are in that type of relationship, whether you're being abused, if you're being abused and you're just allowing that to happen and you're not reaching out for help, and I know sometimes it's scary, I know, you know, sometimes your life is threatened, but you just have to, you really, especially if you have kids, you really have to think about your well-being, and you really have to think about, do you really want to risk not waking up one day and having your family members looking for you because you went missing, or arranging your funeral because what was supposed to be just a minor little slap turned into you know, someone pushing you down and you hitting your head, or someone pulling out a knife and stabbing you, or something like that. As far as the abuse portion, you really have to think about stuff like that. And if you have kids, do you really want your kids growing up seeing their parents go through stuff like that? You know, and it's not easy. You just have to like pray, you know, ask God to remove anyone or anything that is so toxic in your life. Ask God to remove that, and then you have to make the necessary steps to make a better life for yourself, make a better life for your kids. You know, it's not going to be easy. Letting go toxic relationships is not easy. That goes the same for friendships or for some family members. Letting go toxic relationships may not be easy, especially when you have invested so much time. But you have to do it. And the methods that I used to cope with it, I prayed, you know. I went out with friends to get my mind off of it. I wrote sticky notes and put it all over my walls and my windows. I changed the name of my phone to something that reminded me that I didn't need to be there. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if you delete the number, you're going to constantly remember. But for me, I left it in there because every time we either text or I wanted to call or he would call, I put a memo. That's just a constant reminder. If that person is cheating on you and you found a message or something, put that message as the picture. That way when that person calls, you see that and it reminds you, I don't need to go through this. I'm better than this. I'm worth it. I'm not going to let anybody kick me down. I'm not going to let anybody, you know, have that much control over my life to where they see me crying. They see me, you know, begging. They see me in the middle of the night having to go out and be a stalker. Like, you should not have to do all of that. You're trying to get somebody's attention, because if someone loves you, they will bring out the best in you. I promise you. And it's funny because I had this old person tell me, and I never understood it until I was going through my divorce. And I was at the corner store by my mom's house, and the old man, I was with my ex, and the old man looked at us and said that we would not be together. And he pulled me aside and he said, find somebody who loves you just a little bit more than you love them. What? I don't get it, sir. And you know, he just went about his day. To this very day, I always go back to that day in my mind. Find someone who loves you a little bit more than you love them. Find someone who stares at you with fire in their eyes. Find someone who is happy to come home to you. Find someone who is rooting for you. Find someone who encourages you and uplifts you whenever you don't have the strength or the motivation to continue doing whatever it is that you want to do. Whenever you want to give up, that person is right there to lift you up and give you words of encouragement. A relationship should never feel like you're competing. If that person is jealous of, you know, a promotion that you got, or the fact that you're doing better than them, it's supposed to be team effort. That person should not be jealous, and that person should not make you feel like it's a competition. You know? So find somebody who loves you a little bit more than you love them. And that's and I mean that for females. Because why? And I understand now. As a woman, we are natural caregivers. We are naturally going to love when we love with every ounce in us. That's just how we are. We're programmed to think that way. So if we are going to love with every ounce in us, eventually, because that's just how we are, find somebody who loves you just a little bit more. Because you're already giving all that you got 100%. Why should you give 100% and settle for somebody who's giving you 40% or 50%? You know, I hope this video is helpful. I hope the message that I'm trying to portray doesn't come off so nonchalant, because that's not like what I'm trying to say. I promise I've been there. I cried. I made myself look like a complete idiot. You know, I fought. I've done everything in the book. But guess what? I did it once, and I promised myself I would never do it again. Everybody's going to go through something like that in their life at some point. Luckily, I went through mine early. I was between 15 and 18 years old when I was going through all of this. And by the time I was divorced, I was 20 years old. I'll be 26 really soon. I promise you, there is no person on this earth that would be toxic in my life that is worth my tears, that is worth my time, my energy, my sanity. None of that. And I'm very fortunate enough to have someone who respects me, you know, who wants me to be a lady at all times, who corrects me whenever I'm wrong without having to be a complete asshole to me or hit me or call me out my name. You know, he wants me to be a lady. He corrects me when I curse a lot because your girl has a pouty mouth. You know, he puts up with all my BS. And, you know, I'm very, very cautious about how much I dish out, because no man wants a woman that's going to nag all the time, who's going to be a complete bitch all the time, because now you are now that person who mentally, emotionally, and physically abused that person, if that makes any sense. I owe it to myself. I don't owe it to anybody else. I owe it to myself to know my worth. I owe it to myself to be happy. I owe it to myself to have my sanity, to be sane, to live life like there's no tomorrow. Why do I want to live life and be unhappy and come home crying? You know, I don't want to be like, you bring my spirits down. If I have to constantly say you bring my spirits down, then guess what? You're not fulfilling my spirit. You gotta go. So ladies, gentlemen, think about everything that I've said in this video. I hope it made sense. You know, I tell my friends all the time, man up, because guess what? Eventually you will see that that person is not worth it. It's not worth it. So pray. You just put reminders in your phone. Take down any pictures. You know, delete them from social media. If you have to block yourself, or if you have to have them block you to where you don't go onto their social media accounts and reminisce. If you have to just cut all ties, you know, from their friends or from their family, just for a little while, for you to mentally get yourself together, then do so. Do so. Because you both deserve to be happy, even if being happy means being with someone else or being alone. So repeat after me. We both deserve to be happy, even if being happy means being with someone else or alone. If you gotta rewind it and repeat it with me again, do so. Because I want you to instill this into your mind. You deserve to be happy, even if being happy means being with someone else or being alone. But first, you have to learn how to be alone and find your own self-worth before you can be happy with anybody else. So with that being said, I hope this video was helpful. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends or anyone that you know that is going through anything like this or similar. Oh, and if you guys want me to do more chit chat videos, leave some topics down below in the comments section. I'll be sure to read and I'll make more videos. I'm thinking about naming my chit chat videos Missy Lynn Speaks or Missy Lynn Tells All. So like, let me know which one I should go with, Missy Lynn Tells All or Missy Lynn Speaks as the chit chat videos. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.